Tonight, on First at 9 this Saturday, the 22nd of March 2025. Samagi Jala Balawegya declares Dr. Ruwais Hanifa as the party's candidate for mayor of Colombo. Meanwhile, political parties gear up for the upcoming local government polls. Cutting-edge solutions. Election Commission launches election dispute resolution app as the local government polls draw close. Double standards. Ideal time to step out of the United Nations Human Rights Council, claims former president. Condemns the UNHRC for maintaining double standards in matters related to Sri Lanka.
I say walk out of the Human Rights Council. If there's the time, President Trump can do it, why can't we do it?
Condemns the UNHRC for maintaining double standards in matters related to Sri Lanka.
Why is there one law for us and another law for Ukraine?
Negative territory. Sri Lanka's NCPI inflation picks up to negative 3.9% in February.
Chilo Dairy, Sri Lankawama Kiren Perata. ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
කට්ට පරිස්සම් කරගත්තොත් අපි පරිස්සම්.
ඉතින් මොකටද නිකන් නාගන්නේ? ස්වදේශී කොහොඹ ලෙමන් ග්‍රාස් අද කාලෙට ෆ්‍රෙෂ්ම විසඳුම.
From Derana, this is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to Derana First at 9. I'm Aditya Drisingha joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world, brought to you by the only Sri Lankan media network to rise to the pinnacle across all media platforms, recognized as the best by every survey and beloved by the people. Now on your top story tonight, Member of Parliament of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna D.V. Chanaka requests the government to initiate an investigation into the killings committed by the JVP from 1988 to 1990. Responding to the claims raised against the JVP, General Secretary of the party Tilvin Silva claims that rather than blaming the victims, those who sowed the seeds of conflict must be held accountable. Against this backdrop, in Parliament yesterday, Member of Parliament of the Samagi Jala Balawegya, Rohini Kumari Wijeratne, tabled a list of 1,300 people killed by the JVP back then.
The Presidential Commission report compiled to probe the alleged human rights violations, murders and disappearances which occurred from the 1st of January 1988 to the 31st of December 1990 at the Batalanda housing scheme was tabled in Parliament on the 14th of March. It was announced that the debate on the Batalanda Presidential Commission report will be held on the 10th of April and on a later day in May. Against this backdrop, Samagi Jala Balawegya MP Rohini Kumari Wijeratne presented a list of names of 1,300 victims who had been murdered by the Janata Vimukti Peramuna during the same period. The JVP at the time killed more than 1,100 leaders, voters, trade unionists, youth leaders and leaders of women-led alliances affiliated with the United National Party. Here are the names of 1,300 people who were brutally killed under the JVP's gun, sword and knife. The JVP trained child soldiers even before the LTTE. Kantale Boniki is one such example. This child, who was aged 13 years, killed a 70-year-old lady who was a member of the UNP. In addition, JVP is also held accountable for the deaths of Sagarika Gomez and Premawati Manamperi, who were brutally murdered back then. Against this backdrop, several parties commented on the allegations raised against the murders executed by the JVP.
The NPP is aware that if the true perpetrators of the Batalanda scandal are brought to court, the JVP would also be held accountable since they are also at fault. If the NPP or the JVP really wanted to investigate the Batalanda controversy, they could have launched this investigation during the tenure of former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga. During her presidency, they even occupied ministerial portfolios. However, we request that justice be served to the victims of the Batalanda houses of horror and that the JVP make amends for the harm it has previously caused. Not all of the facts surrounding the Batalanda controversy were uncovered. Why have they directed their attention to Ranil Wickramasinghe? The actual question is why the Batalanda Detention Centre was established in the country in the first place. The Batalanda Presidential Commission does not mention anything about the lives of those innocent people who were brutally killed in the night by the JVP. I recently saw footage of Tilvin Silva where he acknowledges that the JVP killed some people. then they should accept these accusations.
Meanwhile, General Secretary of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna Tilvin Silva expressed views on the allegations raised against them.
We have already commented on this. However, certain things that shouldn't have happened in the nation happened during the civil war. It is not victims who should be held accountable over a conflict, but those who paved the way for the conflict to manifest itself. In that sense, the United National Party is to be blamed. We cannot blame the victims here. Let's see how the investigations into the battle and the controversy unfold. Those responsible will be identified by the investigations.
පිරිපුන් ජීවිතයකට ඔබ සමගින් පෙරට යූනියන් ඇෂුවරන්ස් චන්දුරුසුමේ කාගෙන් වන අපේ සිග TV සඳහා සුපිරි ඩීල්
Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe asserts that this is the best time for Sri Lanka to step out of the United Nations Human Rights Council, noting that the council is maintaining double standards over Sri Lanka. Joining our current affairs program at Hyde Park with Indivari Amuwatta, former President Wickremesinghe further went on to say that the draft to establish a Truth, Unity and Reconciliation Committee, which was brought during the tenure of former President Maithripala Sirisena, must be tabled in Parliament for approval. Former President Wickremesinghe asserted that Sri Lanka must fulfill all commitments aimed at serving justice to the Tamil community in the north.
Batalanda Commission report, the Supreme Court, it recommended, be vested with suitable additional jurisdiction to impose sanctions in the form of deprivation of civic rights on persons who are found to repeatedly violate basic fundamental rights of citizens. How do you reconcile your long-standing commitment to democracy with the concerns raised in this report?
I am always committed to democracy. As far as the report is concerned, I have made a statement. I have nothing more to say about that.
But some say that due to political affiliations, no action was taken. Do you think that an apology is needed to the victims by the state?
There is no recommendation as such in the report. Between 2000 and now, at different times, different parties were in power, including the JVP. I am not interested now in talking about Batalanda, and let Parliament debate it on the 10th of April.
I think the question of human rights violations during the final stages of the war also came to light. Your commitment to democracy again was highlighted here. How do we look at Sri Lanka's commitment to accountability and working with the international community going forward, especially when we talk about human rights violations and ensuring that the victims of the civil conflict have some closure?
President Rajapaksa signed an agreement with the Secretary General of the UN. My position is we have to honor it. A lot of the issues like missing persons, we've started. It's too slow, but at least we started it. What is outstanding is the question of inquiry. And all the parties of the position, like many other countries, including India, China and all, this should be done by Sri Lankan judges or Sri Lankan appointees, not outsiders. But I said we are willing to have observers. Now, we brought in a commission draft under President Maithripala Sirisena. A new one was done with the help of Japan and South Africa, which is the Commission on Truth, Unity and Reconciliation. I think we should pass that in Parliament and get down to work on it. So this will meet with the requirements. They can do all the inquiries, then the Attorney General decides who should be prosecuted, who can't be prosecuted. Now, what is the background? We have done this. The West is going at us, the Europeans. Why is it? Okay, we had a war. The 40,000 were not killed. I mean, basically in Gaza, 40,000 people were killed. The population was over 1 million. So then there should have been 1 million people in that. The total of the North didn't have 1 million people. There are people who died in the crossfire, I admit that. But it was certainly not that numbers. And Francis Harris, when I questioned her, said she didn't say it was 40,000. Because of this, we have taken many steps. You have to remember that we are the longest practicing democracy in the world. We went through wars. We held elections. We lost some of our leaders. We lost some of our candidates. But from 1988 onwards, the presidential we held every election, and we have gone through. Give us credit for that. And people who took up arms against us, whether it be the Tamil militants or the JVP, they are in Parliament, they are in government, they are in the presidency. Which country can boast of such record? Now they are all covering Ukraine, where Zelensky did not hold election. He said there's a war. So in America, there was a war in 1812. The British invaded America, they held the election. In US, there was a civil war. Lincoln held the election. Of the 39 states, only 27 or 28 voted. When Europe wants, they cover up. When Trump said this, they even went to challenge Trump on it. The fact is that we had a similar situation in 1988, and then remember from there onwards till 2010, part of the North and the East did not vote. They were under the LTT. Why is there one law for us and another law for Ukraine? That's all that I'm asking. There have been human rights violations there also. But why should we put up with this? Even look at Gaza. 40,000 dead there. What are they doing? They want our people to be tried before the International Criminal Court. We are against it. Why don't we try so many other leaders? So when you have the double standards, I say whatever commitment we have made, we must fulfill, and the Tamil people in the north must feel that justice is being done by them. I am against those who say don't do anything. But at the same time, if you do it now, I say walk out of the Human Rights Council. If this is the time Trump has walked out, you say you can't. Otherwise, we want an investigation into the Asian section of the High Commissioner's office. Who the hell are they? I think we have to take a hard stand if we are prepared to fulfill our commitments to the Secretary General. If we don't, then we are going to be in a difficult situation. All the parties should get together, pass this, say we are going in. I mean, I am more than there to support, and then tell the Human Rights Council, okay, we are also moving on. If President Trump can do it, why can't we do it? Some of them may say there will be no transfer. No, I say if you have a committee, we have two countries, but have a committee. If you want European Union or any European country or anyone else wants to come in, let them be in a committee so it will be very transparent. But Human Rights Council can't jump on some people and not on the others.
Now, with the LG polls looming ahead, the Samaga Jana Balawegaya named its candidate for the Colombo's mayoral race. Accordingly, Dr. Ruwais Hanifa will run for the office of Mayor of Colombo under the SJB's banner. With that, here's a look at more political developments from across the island, with the LG polls drawing close.
With the local government polls looming ahead, the SJB convened at its party headquarters in Pitakote today to nominate its candidate of Colombo's mayoral race. The meeting was held under the patronage of SJB's opposition leader Sajith Premadasa. Accordingly, Dr. Ruwais Hanifa was declared the SJB's candidate for the office of the mayor of Colombo.
I will not be able to execute my duties as a mayor alone. Visionary leadership must be implemented into action through a political platform. We have been given a good team of leaders by the SJB this time.
Subsequently, candidates of the SJB expecting to contest the polls and make their way to the Colombo Municipal Council met with the SJB's leader Sajith Premadasa.
This government acts like a fake doctor attempting to treat patients using a stolen stethoscope. Delivering the final speech in Parliament before the budget was passed, President Anura Dissanayake claims that there will never ever be political pole vaulting with this government. How many of the JVP have switched over to other parties throughout history? How many, including Vimal Weerawansa, have left the JVP? Even some who held ministerial portfolios switched their party affiliations.
Meanwhile, a special workshop was conducted today in Hambantota by the Sarvajana Balaya for the benefit of the candidates contesting under the alliance in the Hambantota district. The workshop was held under the patronage of Sarvajana Balaya's leader, parliamentarian Dilip Jayavira. The alliance's official insignia, the medallion, was presented to all candidates at the event.
What did the president say summing up the budget debate? Where in his speech did he speak of something that would change your life? That is my question. I now have a question for you. Within the past 6 months, did you ever feel a change? Does it matter to you that the new minister travels in a cab while the previous minister travelled in a luxury vehicle? It doesn't matter to you. This is one big myth. To tell you how serious it is, they claim that the salaries of all their ministers are collected and credited to the party's account. Then all transactions are conducted through the party account. These are all myths. These myths have no merit since they will not benefit your lives. We need to show them how it's done practically. Otherwise, we will also simply be boasting around. We need to show them the concept of positive politics. The Sarvajana platform was set up to unite everyone, not just ourselves. That is why I named this alliance Sarvajana.
Meanwhile, several public representatives shared their opinions on the upcoming local government polls.
We secured this power not to concede it. We toiled hard to secure this power. We will will not let them steal it so easily. We fought hard for 76 years. 2 generations died in this endeavor. Let's see what will happen. At the last election, the people decided to take away our power and vest it with the NPP. The people will decide who actually worked for them and who bragged. The government will receive a good response through the local government election. The UNP has been the political force that always lifted the country up when it collapsed. The UNP is all geared up to man the local government infrastructure spread island-wide through a dynamic group comprising youngsters and veterans. We see our party spreading its roots rapidly in the grassroots. Many SLPP affiliates who left us have decided to rejoin us. All this is happening since we have a vision as a party and also because we have never lied to the people. Our supporters have figured that out. Never before have the grassroots been so excited to make the SLPP victorious. Ours is the youngest party to contest the polls. Our party has a fresh vision and agenda. Our vision is to set up an entrepreneurial state. All our groups are excited and keen to contest the polls. Through the upcoming polls, it will be evident that the people are still with us. The people will teach the opposition about all what the NPP has done within the last 4 to 6 months, including ensuring economic stability, political stability, and improving Sri Lanka's geopolitical standing. Now, on the same theme, a new mobile application was introduced for submitting complaints related to the 2025 local government elections today. Meanwhile, a special discussion on the upcoming local government polls was held at the Election Commission with the participation of several political party representatives.
The Election Commission has introduced a new mobile application for submitting complaints related to the 2025 local government elections today. Accordingly, the EC-EDR mobile application has been introduced to submit complaints formally via a cutting-edge technological solution. The event, which was held this morning, saw the participation of several political representatives and election watchdogs.
During the past, complaints were submitted to the Complaint Investigation Unit at the Election Commission. These units were set up in every district during elections. People were able to submit their complaints either through phone calls or by physically arriving at the premises. However, from our end, we were unable to provide feedback to the complainant. In order to address this issue, the Information Technology Unit of the Election Commission introduced a mobile app which performs all these tasks. With the release of this new app, anyone can now file a complaint over the phone and have it forwarded to the appropriate authorities. The feedback will then be communicated to the complainant. One of the main benefits of this app is that the complainant can upload either video footage or photos. In addition, we are able to trace the location of the area in question. We are trying our best to hold a free and fair election in the country. However, in cases of any complaints made, we expect to address the relevant matter promptly.
Meanwhile, a special discussion on the upcoming LG polls was held at the Election Commission with the participation of several political party representatives.
We suggested the Commission present a proper procedure for this election, considering the guidelines issued in previous elections. Several nominations have been rejected due to clerical errors. We requested the Election Commission to implement a procedure to resolve these clerical errors with the interference of the Election Commission instead of pushing us to a situation where we have to go to court. The alternative is a number of cases being filed in court. It will be a major issue if the election is postponed. 425 nomination papers have been rejected island-wide. The duration to submit nominations was from the 17th to the 20th of March. However, the Election Commission announced the second amendment on the 15th or 16th of March, advising parties on how to draft the young candidates list. The Election Commission must at least arrive at the conclusion that the national identity card and a copy of the birth certificate will suffice. If they don't allow that, we will have to turn towards the law for help.
Fast track your career from O levels with eSoft.
ඩයබටිසෝල් සීනිවලින් පරිස්සම් වන ඔබට අමතක නොවන පෝෂණය.
කැලනි වයර් කිසි ගින්නක් නෑ.
කිසි ගින්නක් නෑ. කැලනි ෆයර් ෂීල්ඩ් වයර්.
Welcome back. You're joining Ada Derana, Sri Lanka's most trusted news source. Now, the National Youth Services Council has not taken measures to recruit new employees for the available vacancies that are vital for the progression of the council. This startling revelation was made at the most recent COPE hearing in Parliament. The officers of the National Youth Services Council were rendered speechless when the COPE subcommittee questioned them on this matter.
අපි මේ කතා කරන්නේ 23 වර්ෂයේ වාර්ෂික වාර්තාව. දැන් ඔබතුමන්ලගේ කාර්යය තමයි ඒක සම්බන්ධයෙන් වාර්ෂික වාර්තාව සකස් කිරීම.
එතකොට අපි දැන්ට 23 කෙටුම්පත් කරලා තියෙනවා වාර්ෂික වාර්තාව. නමුත් අර අපිට ඒක අමාත්‍යාංශයට යොමු කිරීමේ හැකියාවක් නැහැ දෙමළ සහ ඉංග්‍රීසි පරිවර්තන නොමැතිව.
ඇයි නැත්තේ?
ඒ කියන්නේ තාම ට්‍රාන්ස්ලේෂන්ස් අපිට හම්බුනේ නැහැ.
පරිවර්තන ගැටලුව මොකක්ද?
පරිවර්තන ගැටලුව දැන් මම දන්න තරමින් මේ වෙනකොට විසඳිලා තියෙන්නේ සර්.
මේ කවුද මේකේ වගකීම දරන්නේ? අධ්‍යක්ෂ සංවර්ධන කියන තනතුරේ වේකන්ට්.
ඉන්න ආවරණ තනතුරක ඉන්න නිලධාරිනියක්.
ආවරණ ඒ නිලධාරිනිය ඉන්නවද?
ඒ නිලධාරිනිය නෑ මෙතන නෑ.
දැන් මේ જાතිය උත්තර දුන්නාම තුන්වෙනි වර අපි හිතනවා දැන් ඇනුවල් රිපෝට් එක අරන් එයි මෙතෙන්ට දෙයි මේ ගැන අපිට පොරොන්දු වෙලා යන දේනේ මේකනේ සභාව හැලුවට ලක් වෙනවා මේ වැඩෙන්. නිසා මේක බාර ගන්න බෑ අපිට. පනත සංශෝධනය කිරීමට අදාළව වාර්තාව
අඩුම ගානේ වැඩ කටයුත්ත ආරම්භ වුණාට කියලාවත් අදහසක් කියන්න බැරිද ඔබතුමන්ට?
නීති අංශයක් තියෙනවද?
නීති අංශයක් තියෙනවා. නීතිඥවරයෙක් නැහැ. අපි නීතිඥවරයෙක් බඳවා ගැනීම සඳහා මාස 14ක් තිස්සේ කළමනාකරණ සේවා දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ අනුමැතිය ඉල්ලමින් අමාත්‍යාංශයට ලිපි යොමු කරලා තියෙනවා.
දැන් අපි කතා කරලා මාසයක් ගියා. අඩුම ගානේ මේ පිළිබඳව සාකච්ඡාවක්වත් ගිහිලා නැත්නම් ආයතනයේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඉතින් අපිට තියෙන්නේ අපහැදිලි චිත්‍රයක්.
ලේකම්තුමා විසින් කමිටුවක් පත් කරා අමාත්‍යාංශ නිලධාරීන් සහ තනුසා සභාවේ නිලධාරීන් ඇතුළුව. එම කමිටුවෙන් තීරණය කර වාර්තාව ලබා දීම සමයි සභාපතිවරයා මේ ලේකම්වරයා විසින් කලින් දින ඉල්ලීමක් සිදු කරේ.
එම කමිටුවේ තත්ත්වය මොකද්ද දැන්?
තාම අපිට වාර්තාව හම්බුනේ නැහැ. කියන්නේ වැඩ පටන් ගත්තා විතරයිනේ. මාසයක් ඇතුළත දෙන්නම් කියලා අපි
නේද මාස ඉවරයිනේ.
වාර්ෂික මුල්‍ය වාර්තා ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න බැරි වීමට හේතු ඇයි ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න බැරි වෙලා තියෙන්නේ?
පිළිතුරු නොමැතද?
හරි අන්තසන්ට.
ඇයි සඳ නැති ඉන්නේ?
ගණකාධිකාරීවරයෙකු නොවීම ගණකාධිකාරීවරයන්
සභාපතිතුමා මෙන්න මෙහෙම කරමු.
හේතු නෙවෙයිනේ. ගණකාධිකාරීවරයෙක් නැහැ කියන එකේ වගකීම ගන්න ඕනේ සභාපති සමාගමේ සභාපතිතුමා විදියට ඔබතුමා.
හෝම්වර්ක් කරලා එන්නේ නැද්ද? මෙතනට උත්තර දෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා හිතාගෙන එන්නේ නැද්ද ටීම් එකක් විදියට? අලුත් අය ගිහිල්ලා ඕන දෙයක් ඔහෙ කමන්නේ කියලා. එහෙමද? ඉතින් මේ ඔබතුමන්ලා පඩි ගන්න ආයතනයනේ.
President Anukumara Dissanayake met with Admiral Samuel G. Peparo, the commander of the United States Indo-Pacific Command, at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. Admiral Peparo extended his best wishes to President Dissanayake and the new government on their planned initiatives and acknowledged support given to maintain the Indian Ocean region a peaceful maritime environment. Moreover, Admiral Peparo reaffirmed the United States' commitment towards strengthening bilateral ties between the two nations and expressed support to policies of the Sri Lankan government. President Dissanayake appreciated the assistance provided to enhance human resources in the defense sector and acknowledged the long-standing support by the United States. The meeting was also attended by Minister of Foreign Affairs Vijay Herath and US Ambassador to Sri Lanka Julie Chang. Well, here's a look at more local news across the island in brief.
A woman was hacked to death by her husband in the Isurugama area of Rattota, Kaikawala. According to reports, the murder was committed by the suspect over a family dispute. The suspect, who was in hiding in a bid to evade arrest, has since been nabbed by the Rattota police. Meanwhile, the police have uncovered new details on the recent Devinura shooting incident where 2 lives were claimed. According to the latest investigation-related updates, the shooting is suspected to have been carried out by an underworld don infamous under his alias Balemali, who is currently hiding in Dubai. The shootings had been carried out as a result of a dispute between Balemali and the 2 deceased, identified as Pasindu Tharaka and Yomesh Nadishan. The suspected assailants rammed the motorcycle on which the victims were riding before opening fire on the victims using a T-56 rifle and a pistol. The attackers immediately fled the scene after the shooting, leaving the victims dead on the spot. So far, the police have recovered 39 T-56 bullet casings along with 2 9mm bullet casings. Meanwhile, the van used by the assailants was discovered 800 meters away from the scene of the shooting, abandoned and set on fire. In other local news, a bus travelling from Colombo to Galle collided with a motorcycle heading in the opposite direction at the Kalutara-Waskadua area. The motorcyclist who sustained serious injuries in the accident was promptly rushed to hospital. In similar news, at least 35 people were injured and hospitalized when 2 buses belonging to the Ceylon Transport Board collided head-on in Dummaladeniya Warakapola. The devastating accident caused a severe traffic congestion along the Colombo-Kandy main road.
Welcome back. Now in your business news, Sri Lanka's NCPI-based inflation increased to negative 3.9% in February 2025 from negative 4% in January 25. The National Consumer Price Index for all items for February 2025 stood at 206.2, recording a decrease of 0.2 index points or 0.11% compared to 206.4 points in January. On a monthly basis, the year-on-year inflation of the food group increased to negative 1.1% in February 2025 from negative 2.5% in January 2025. Meanwhile, the year-on-year inflation of the non-food group decreased to negative 6% in January 2025 from negative 5.2% in January. Now in other business news, the chairman of the Colombo Stock Exchange, Dilshan Veerasekara, claims that that Sri Lanka has the potential to showcase its investment opportunities to foreign investors and be among the 4 frontier markets in the South Asian region, along with Pakistan, Bangladesh and the Maldives. The chairman made these remarks while announcing an upcoming investor forum of the Colombo Stock Exchange.
The Colombo Stock Exchange held a special press briefing recently in Colombo to review its progress during the last 40 years. Future decisions taken on behalf of investors were also reviewed at the event. During the briefing, the chairman of the Colombo Stock Exchange, Dilshan Veerasekara, also announced the launch of CSE's upcoming investor forum, Invest Sri Lanka. The Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, and the Deputy Minister of Economic Development and Minister of Labour, Professor Anil Jayantha, will represent the government at the forum.
The Invest Sri Lanka Capital Market Investor Forum 2025. You would appreciate that we are having such an event on a scale as large as this, I think after about 11 or 12 years. As we all know, Sri Lanka has gone through a long period of turmoil over the last sort of 5 years, transformed, reformed, and now currently is in its recovery phase and has achieved a good growth trajectory. The Sri Lankan economy grew at 5.4% for Q4 of 2024 and has topped over 5% for the full year. And it's quite important that the capital market plays its part in terms of this whole, I would call it a renaissance. This event that we are having on the 27th and 28th will have of close to 100 foreign investors who would come for that forum. We also have local investors, local market intermediaries, everyone connected with the capital markets ecosystem, regulators. What we hope to showcase is the investment opportunities that are there in Sri Lanka. So it's not just about listed equity. We all know the case that current equity markets have. We are the lowest valued market in this region. I think we are still at about 8.5 times price earnings ratio. If you compare that to the closest, I think in the region is probably Bangladesh. Even through turmoil that country is going, their market is trading at a 12 times PE. So it shows the potential that we as a market, we as a country have. Also, the 4 regional markets, that is Pakistan, Bangladesh and the Maldives also being present. We have a panel discussion with the leadership of those exchanges. We believe collaboration is the way forward. We believe we all belong to this frontier market category, and that sort of showcasing the case that each of these markets make will be good from a foreign investor perspective. We think that foreign investors will find it more interesting to come. We would be also signing a MOU along with the Colombo Stock Exchange where we would agree on how we collaborate going forward. So I think the important message is that these 4 frontier markets in the South Asian region are also coming together for the first time to really sort of showcase the investment case. And I can tell you that Sri Lanka stands out. We are not only the cheapest, but we are the most advanced out of the four in terms of systems, processes, in any metrics that you take. It will show us very well in the international stage when you compare it with the region.
That's all the news we have for you tonight. Thank you. Have a great night.